Welcome back, everyone, to another Bullcast Reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 20. I think it's 20. Number 20. Episode 20 of Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 20. Let's go. What happened last time? Nobara died.
Yeah.
Her eyeball flew into the air and onto the floor in front of YUJI. Not 5 minutes after he saw his mentor get fucking exploded into a billion pieces.
It's a rough day.
By the same guy.
By the same guy who also killed his short-time bestie last year-ish?
Yeah. Yeah. Who he also knew for like one day, but still.
Yeah.
Still, it was a big deal. And what could have been, that's the problem. Not what was, what could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I need to refresh this in a second, but I still have hope. Maki, hopefully, is still not dead.
I hope so.
I wish that she would have been able to be around while Nobara was alive. That's my only thing. Nobara dying to me is like a fulfillment of I feel like if Gege and I knew each other in real life, I feel like if we grew up in the same town, we probably would have been friends, or maybe we would have hated each other, because I feel a connection through the way that he writes his stuff. I'm being serious. Why is it so funny?
I just love it.
Why is that funny?
It's just funny because I love it, because you're just like, if me and the author of this, one of the most successful manga of all time, grew up in the same town, we would have been friends. Or we would have hated each other. It's just so funny.
You started laughing before I even said that part.
It's just funny. I just love how invested you are. I'm
not making a joke here, Lindsay.
Okay, fine.
I'm not screwing around. My point is, it feels like, so Sakura is another sort of, like, in the trio, you got the brooding emo boy, part of the really strong lineage. You got the scrappy youngster who's not really familiar with all the magic system and doesn't really know anything, but is trying to do his best. Mm-hmm. And then you got the girl. And the girl in this case was a lot more badass, but she was also underpowered in relation. Well, it's weird. It was just a weird matchup. She wasn't useless, but like everybody was telling her to go home for a reason. I think everybody was kind of aware that she wasn't best suited for what was going on here. And she kept going. And I think that that's the interesting part, is that she kept going. If we look at fucking Sakura, for example, and I think
she
that
keeps going home.
Yeah, well, she keeps saying that she wants to catch up, or she wants to do this, or she wants to do that, but the story is such that Kishimoto can't sacrifice Sakura like Gege did here, so there's not really a payoff that can happen with her beyond her marrying one of the guys and just being a mom and just like basically losing all of her shit. Like there's nothing that can happen sort of as a payoff with her. And I think that a lot of Jujutsu is sort of it's like an academic paper, or like that's what shonen is. I describe shonen like this a lot. Shonen is like any form of writing is in a genre is like another form of like scientific study. If you look at like academic or educational sort of journals and papers and theses and shit, it's like they all cite previous works to help explain why their theorems or whatever, or their hypotheses make sense. But you can't just restate a previous, article as your shit. You have to, use that and then draw your own conclusions from it. And that's how fiction is. And I think that that's what Gege is doing with Nobara's death and with a lot of things in Jujutsu Kaisen. And that's why I think the Megami thing with being taken over by Sukuna is going to be interesting if that does happen. Like, I think that it's sort of like a narrative way of expressing the same kind of shit, where like Sasuke, for example, there was always this shit of like Sasuke's going to get taken over by Orochimaru, going to get like, assimilated or something. And then it does happen at some point, but it's just played for the mystery of it. Like there's one time where he's like the ritual's gonna happen, and Sasuke goes in while Kabuto's going to get medicine. Kabuto comes back, and then there's Sasuke standing there, and then Kabuto's just like, which one are you? And then Sasuke turns just like, I don't know, Kabuto. Which one do you think I am? And then he walks away, and that's the extent of it. I think in this case, there's going to be more to that. And I think what I'm getting at in all of this is like, a lot of Jujutsu is sort of like, I feel like it's Gege sort of experiencing all these stories and then being like, why, like, having, I guess, the skill and the forethought to be able to follow through on a lot of these things. Like, Sakura, by all means, should have either died or buckled down and actually been a part of the group. But but because of just the way that maybe it's an editor thing, maybe, you know, whatever, nothing ever happened with Sakura. And that's why I like Nobara dying, even if it is a little bit unsatisfactory, even if Gege might have originally planned there to be more shit with her and her backstory and her town and everything. The point of it all is that, like, yeah, it's unsatisfying, but what's more unsatisfying? A useless character or a dead character? That's something that I have a huge problem with all of Naruto. Fucking Sasuke retrieval arc. We were just talking to some of Lindsay's friends about this the other day. We were talking about Naruto because they're really into Naruto. Like, I wish fucking Neji died in the Sasuke retrieval arc. I wish Choji died in the Sasuke retrieval arc, because then it gives like a reason for things to happen later. There's no reason for Sasuke to be hated by the village just because he joins up with the Orochimaru. He could be like manipulated or something, like, but the story needs Sasuke to have like this dark turn, but they're unwilling to like put in the work in order for him to make him take a dark turn, as in killing people. Like, if Sasuke joins a group and everybody that went to pursue him dies, it's like a big sacrifice for the village, and it's as a result of his choices, right? So there's like a logic and sort of a stakes to the choice that he made. That doesn't really happen, and it's kind of in word only. The thing I like about Jujutsu and with Nobara's death is it illustrates a willingness to sacrifice your characters for the sake of actual character development and world development. It changes the way that Yuji's going to interact, and it follows through on what should have happened, logically speaking, with a character like Nobara in this conflict. There's no reason why she should survive this. If she's going in and choosing to fight, it's like Nanami died. Fucking people are getting burned alive left and right. Nobara dying, it shows. It might be a little bit unsatisfying to some people, but I'd way rather her be dead and have that mean something for everything else and for the story and for the main character, and for it to feel maybe a little bit unsatisfying if you look at it really close, rather than she sticks around because they pull off some badass move like they did before, and, you know, it's just kind of lost. Like, all of the stakes are lost. It's like, she, you know, there's no consequences to the there's like a substantial feeling of danger, which, like, if I can go on a little bit more of a rant, a lot of people talk about something like Game of Thrones. I'll spoil a little bit of Game of Thrones. I'll keep it roughly not that spoilery, but as much as I can. But people talk about Game of Thrones like it's like, oh, you know, George R. R. Martin, he's not afraid to kill his characters. George Martin really only killed like I mean, over the long term, he kills more characters. But like, what people are talking about is the main character of Game of Thrones died as a way to set the tone for the rest of the series. And it's kind of a sleight of hand trick that, you know, makes everybody afraid, because then from that point on, everybody's afraid that their character is going to die.
No one's safe, but the way that you really actually make it feel like no one's safe is you don't actually kill off everyone, because or else you have something like 86 where it's like, okay, so everyone's gonna die, so I'm just not gonna care about anyone, instead of like, oh no, I love this person and I'm like scared of which way it's gonna go, you know?
Yeah. In 86 is a good example as well, and in Game of Thrones as well. It's like the authors aren't, they try, the idea is to instill like a level of fear in the audience that, like, you know, anything can happen at any time, everybody's in danger. And the whole thing is set up like for people to die, so that when they don't and they survive, it's like, whoa, I didn't expect them to survive. But what's really happening is the author is creating characters as lambs for slaughter, slightly deeper into their story, so that it feels like, oh, this isn't an inciting incident, when really they're just sort of protracting that inciting incident, prolonging it slightly further into the story to set the tone for the rest of the thing. And so a character that you thought was going to die surviving, or a character that you thought was going to live and be the main character dying, it's not actually a danger. It's like their death and their life and their presence in the story up to that point was in a way a storytelling tool to set your expectations for the story. And I feel like that's why I like Nobara's death more, is because with that in mind, with that idea in mind, Nobara, I don't think was like that. I don't think Nobara's like that. I think that she possibly was going to be something else, but then upon examination, as things evolve, and with, Gege is clearly a person that sort of plans for the future with his writing, he made use of what he had at some cost, and that cost of narrative possibility of like the development of her character possibly for the future, I think is it's a cost for that's why it feels like it matters, and it feel like that unsatisfaction, that feeling of like, oh, we could have had so much more for her. That cost, that we lost something, like there's something was lost in the story, but something else could be gained. It's a real sacrifice, and not a artificial sacrifice for the sake of setting stakes and tension. It does it organically and with actual sacrifice to the potential of what the story could have been, genuinely. Because she could have been something else. She probably was going to be set up to do something else. But she died earlier than she was supposed to, like fucking kids in this world do. Like Haibara, like fucking everybody. Like everybody who's died. Like all the sacrifices that have been made. There was so much that they had to offer to the world, and so much where they could have gone, and we will never see what that's like because they're now dead. And I feel like that little bit of like squirreliness with what could have been, that unsatisfaction, that we didn't get her whole backstory. There could have been more going on there. They clearly was a pivot with how Gege was setting her up. That whole thing feeds into why it feels so sad that she's dead, despite her not really bringing that much to the story up to this point. So there's that. Anyway, sorry I cut you off.
Never mind. We've been talking for like
it's okay.
15 minutes.
People want to hear us talk. There's timestamps. Okay. What do you want to say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, to me, like, I can't tell whether or not I like that, because I do appreciate it in the way of like, oh, she wasn't just like throwing up death flags every 2 seconds and like from the start of her character. But at the same time, and it might just feel different to different people, but like as soon as I watch it, it's like, oh, this like wasn't supposed to happen, and it's almost like her character even being made was like almost a mistake in the first place. So like when you track it back, it's not like, oh, this character was like really needed and then like the right situation happened where they got rid of them. It's like this. It's like, okay, so I'm writing this story. We have the main three, and then it's like I've immediately written myself into a corner where now I have this girl here, and I literally just don't want her anymore. I'm gonna kill her off.
Yeah.
So, and also to like the proximity of like Nanami also dying. Like Nanami was clearly the character, like you were talking about, that was made to die in this type of scenario.
Yeah.
Like that is his character's purpose to the story. Whereas I think also the proximity of Nobara's death to Nanami's death is it like if Nanami hadn't died there or hadn't been there, and she could have been like she could have been sacrifice. Like the jumpstart of YUJI, like, because the thing is like, oh, this is going to affect YUJI, and it's like, of course 2 different people dying is going to affect him in different ways, but like the person close to him dying, it pushes him in a certain way, and then him destroying a city block and murdering a bunch of innocent people is like a different thing. So, and then like coming back, and
so it feels like they're kind of retreading the same ground with her death.
Yeah. But it makes it feel like it was an afterthought. It was like, I'm just gonna get rid of her really quick here.
To me, I feel the same way, and I honestly think it might be so. You remember how when Nanami was going to die, and I was like, I was projecting that Nanami would get Junpei'd in a way, but even worse, like now that we saw Mekamaru get, transfigured into a normal functioning person. And I mentioned this last time, like at the start of the episode, like what is he able to do? I remembered Mechamaru, but I didn't think of it the same way because I thought of it more as like just making him whole rather than changing his form fundamentally. Like I didn't think of it the same way, but I guess it is the same thing. But now that we learned more of what Mahito can do, you know, is that going to change the way that he interacts with Nanami, with killing Nanami? Is it going to be like, oh, Nanami isn't just a big purple dinosaur that just dies instantly, Barney style, but like he'll maybe it'll change him into something more dangerous, more like a beast that will go after Yuji or something. But he didn't, and we figured like, oh well, actually now that we think about it, him doing the same thing that he did with another character to Yuji, it kind of is like it's retreading the same ground. But then the next episode, he does the same thing with Nobara that he did with Nanami. So then it's like, okay, so maybe he didn't think of it, but I think he probably weighed all his options and decided that just a big explosive death like that would be more impactful, just sudden. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, he maybe didn't do that because he probably didn't want to do the exact same thing twice, and then he did the same thing with Nobara, making me think that maybe, yeah, it was a little bit of an afterthought. But to me, honestly, since the beginning with Nobara, I'm sad that she died because there was a lot charming about her once she, like in the second half of season 1, I liked her a lot more, like her whole conversation about like femininity and stuff, and in the final episode of season 1, I liked her a lot, but to me, from the beginning, she felt kind of obligatory in a way that other characters didn't. Yeah, but then again, all characters in season 1 to me felt that way. Gojo to me felt very much like, oh, he's Kakashi, but different. A lot of the characters, as they're introduced in season 1, feel like, oh, here's this archetype from shonen tropes that you might know, but they're actually the opposite. Like, Kaminori Toshi Jr. is like, he's like Neji, but he's actually a softie on the inside and not, you know, like, Todo is super fucking macho badass guy, but on the inside he's a total otaku for idols and is actually super, super smart. Like, it's like, okay, here's the archetype, and then it's actually their opposite on the inside. So it's not like a super creative character scheme as far as writing out all these characters from the get-go. It's how they develop that will be interesting, and that's what we're seeing with Yuji. Is like, you know, we're seeing so with Nobara, it felt that way. It was like, oh, she's classic girl archetype, but instead of a healer, she is like super badass, you know, kind of girl power, but also
super
like
girly, like loves to go shopping, loves to, wants to like go. She has like, like the guys are like,
but she acts more like a guy,
and stuff,
like more masculine, right?
Yeah, or just like she's just a normal person instead of like being.
But like she's not girly because you know Ino and Sakura are like they're very girly. Ino runs a fucking flower shop for God's sake, like. Their entire arc is about trying to get with Sasuke because they fail the Bechdel test by the time they were 2 years old. So Nobara again clearly is like a response to classic shonen storytelling, like almost everything in season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen is just trying to create its own identity as a mirror to what came before it, and I felt that from the beginning. And I was excited to see if there would be more to her, but there wasn't because she died, and I can see how that could be unsatisfying. But from the beginning, I don't think that it's because Gege, like I said, planned for her to die. I think that it was more of a spontaneous thing, but I think that he kind of didn't know, like he knew that he wanted to challenge that preconception about like, you know, main 3 female shonen sidekick person as not being just a future wife prospect for one of the main guys, not being a healer, not being super girly as it turns out, but, you know, playing with this idea of femininity in, you know, this masculine story surrounded by all these masculine dudes. How can I challenge that sort of convention? And you know, do the same thing that he would do later with the rest of his characters of just like this character archetype, but the inside is reversed. But it never felt like she had a place, you know. So I get it. I see it from the beginning, but I think that overall I'm happy that she's dead because I think that it helps the story more for her to die as a sacrifice than it does for her to live, and then us get more backstory about her and spend more time on her. When what's coming
clearly doesn't want to do that,
or just what's coming is gonna be so crazy. Like, if the Megami shit comes to pass, what's that gonna mean for Yuji? If Yuji is like a cursed fucking womb person who can grow as well, who didn't just grow, like instantly turn into an adult, you know, what's gonna happen with his relationship with Choso? Is Yuji just gonna straight up go to the fucking dark side or go complete rogue mode after this? Like, what is this gonna mean? And what with like Gojo being sealed and brain fucking Kamo, Umbrella Man, like skulking about, like what's going on with all that shit? Like, what's going on with gonna absorb Mahito? Like, there's so much really interesting shit that I also feel like there just isn't time to go back to Nobara's fucking village for no reason, unless they would like work it into some sort of prophecy thing, or like that's where Kama was from, where she's from, or some weird shit like that, or there's something buried in her hometown that, like, I don't know, a finger is back there or some shit. It would just be kind of convenient in order to make it important. So I just feel like it's the best thing for her to die as far as like progressing the story. There's just too much going on, and it's not that big of a loss because what she was more of a commentary character anyway. And the potential of what she could have been being lost, I think, adds to the emotion that I feel as a result of her death, rather than just like, oh, I loved this character, now she's dead. It's like, oh, but she could have been something so interesting, and clearly there was a world where she may have been written to be something more interesting. We might have learned something about her, and that's gone, and that sucks. Anyway, 20 minutes in, we haven't even watched the episode. Let's check out this reaction to Jujutsu Kaisen. Let's go. Oh boy. I bet people are gonna be freaking out about another flashback all of a sudden. No, don't feel too bad about it. Whose fault was it?
Yeah.
It's too late.
It's gonna be super expensive.
What? For a shirt? Do you know how much that is? It's like over $2,000, isn't it?
Why does he even need a shirt like that?
Wait, do I have that right? I feel like isn't that right? Jesus.
That's disgusting. Please just kill him.
Is my boy gonna show up? He hit a black flash? Is nobody coming to save him? Did you hear that clap?
Yeah.
My brother.
You couldn't have showed up like 2 minutes ago.
That's... I'd be way more hype if Yuji wasn't just so depressed right now. Yuji is rock bottom.
I mean, I think it's understandable.
Oh, right, yeah, because I was saying that it wasn't understandable. It does, you know, why is Yuji like that? That's not what I was saying? Did you think that that's what I was saying?
I'm just joking.
Holy shit, well, he's here. Yeah, I wish that he could have got here a bit sooner, but it is what it is. Anyone else see the stitching on that crater? The screen tear?
を削ぐ戦いへと今目的が変わったんだ。急ごう。ブラザーなら近くに来ているはずだ。
He doesn't feel the presence of Mei nearby, so I wonder what's going on with that. We still haven't cut back to that.
Oh.
ブラザーも頼む。起きろブラザー。戦いはこれからだ。縁起悪い。俺はもう。じゃない。
Is that guy related to Nanami? He looks like Nanami. Exactly what the principal said would happen.
Still such a cool power.
Such a cool but simple ability, yeah.
小さくまとまる。俺たちは呪術師だ。お前と釘崎、ミスターナナミ、いる仲間。俺たち全員で呪術師なんだ。俺たちが生きている限り、仲間たちが真に敗北することはない。罰の話ではないんだ。血を選んだ時点で、俺たちの人生がその因果のうちに収まりきることはない。意味や理由を見出すことは冒涜となる。それでも。
What was that shot? What was that place?
Probably like,
Was it Grandpa's grave or?
I don't know, or just like Jujutsu sorcerer grave. I don't know. Keep moving forward.
That's the guy.
Whoa.
What? What's the technique? Oh, what?
Sick. They just won't get him. That's a pretty sick technique.
Wait, really?
They're just gonna give her.
Wait, for real?
No, they're just gonna give him some hope, and then they're gonna kill her. Still, it's just giving Yuji just a little bit.
Oh shit. If he gets hit once, it's over. Can he turn around?
Oh.
It's not gonna help you. This isn't gonna help you.
And then he'll switch it with the other thing, just classic.
Yeah, this is his worst fucking enemy. He can't use his one thing. He switched with a fucking cursed tool, so it's... Oh god. My brother.
Oh, you're wearing that.
Yeah.
Just, I love how that he's even wearing a shirt. Like,
What the hell?
もう決着がつく頃だ。渋谷に向かっても意味はない。戻るんだ。ミワ。
Matters there should be settled, right?
9割9分死なんと判断した。堂々と同行している新田もな。図式は役に立つ。
your nickname is useless, Miwa. I'm sorry.
You literally gave yourself that nickname.
31日は京都以南の任務に就くように細工しておいた。なんで何も言ってくれなかったの？なんで相談してくれなかったの？
It's called a pact.
私たちは仲間じゃないの。時間だ、ミワ。さよなら。今まで。さよならなんて言わないで。ミワ。行かない。ミワ。幸せになってくれ。形であれ、お前が幸せなら叶ったも当然だ。メカ丸がしたこと。不問よ。人が死んでるんだもん。随分とひもられたものだな。ね。っていうか東堂君なら死なないとかちなら死ぬとか関係ないっつうの。可愛い後輩をぶち殺す。生物との一概。
As
Oh
long as
boy,
it has
I'm going
curse
down here
energy.
now.
Oh, jeez. Wait, with any inanimate object?
I guess so.
With any object?
A literal rock.
I thought it was
Piece of
just as long.
dust.
I thought it had to have cursed energy. Are we gonna run into fuck? And we're getting warmer here.
Yeah.
今の俺ならワンタッチで殺せるか？鳥の魂は残り1割ってところかな。そして俺の魂は残り4割。
Oh, he's worn down. Wait,
潰されたことか。
that you know what that means?
What?
That Ghetto doesn't have to make a pact.
He can just
'Cause it's
grab
less
him.
than
Yeah,
half.
he's just gonna show up right now and get him.
That's what he said in the fucking hidden inventory to Toji. He was
Yeah.
like, I think if they were less than half or whatever it was some percentage, but he's approaching that.
Yeah.
And if it was above second grade or first grade or something, then he didn't have to make a pact with them to absorb them. Yeah, it's making the sound too. And it sucks that these are still humans. That's the fuck. Oh no!
Disgusting.
Fuck's sake!
Ew.
What the fuck, man? No!
Oh.
How did he do that? How did he do that? His hands were... How did he do that?
You're like,
Did he clap his fucking cheeks? What did he do there? How did he do that? His hands were tied. I wonder if it's a budgetary thing or if they're not talking on purpose. I love it that they're not.
そのレベルでお前は親友ではなくなってしまう。俺もすでに国戦を決めていると思う。置いていかれているのは俺。
oh my god, look at him.
ブラザー。
He's being thrown at that speed.
一人にする。
What is this?
He's having a magical girl transformation right now.
What was that wink with Yuji? He literally is. I feel like this is gonna end badly though, is my problem. A black flash from TODO thrown by Yuji. And he just recovered?
It was just he just needed a little like moral power up.
I love the manga style. Interesting choice to use the ending here, but I'm so scared for TODO right now. Holy fuck. All right.
Wow, I love TODO going through a magical girl
I
transformation.
love that so
just
much.
to do 0 damage. But it wasn't about doing damage. It was just about him getting on the same level. He was just feeling a little bit left out.
Yeah.
He was excluded. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't drawing enough power. He wasn't drawing enough of his latent potential.
Yeah.
He just had to, you know, he just had to get he needed like a participation trophy of a hit.
Yes. I love that. And it makes sense with the whole shit that I've been talking about for the last couple weeks and a few times before that with people being close to death and then drawing out like a crazy amount of their potential. Basically, they like achieve a new high despite being at a new low. You know, when normal people are near death, they can sometimes see cursed energy and cursed spirits because they're, you know, approaching that barrier of life and death and spirituality. And similar thing is happening here where all of them, like, you know, they're all getting kind of drawn out. TODO is just kind of crazy because he's showing up at 100%. But Mahito and YUJI are both like almost running on empty. So just like with Gojo when he almost died, same shit here. That you just like, you know, it's make or break, and everybody's just kind of like going insane right now. And
I thought for sure that Not Ghetto was gonna show up
right before he does the big attack.
subway.
He's just gonna be like, psh, and then he just turns into a ball, and he's like, gulp.
Yeah.
That's it.
I guess not. I still kind of hope that happens.
Yeah, I think it must. Hang on, I want to go see.
Because I would just also love, like, most of all, I obviously want Mahito to just die and to never have to see him again because he's horrible. But wouldn't it also be, like, a good kind of torture, like, specifically for Mahito? So that Mahito, you know, like, he just loves kind of doing whatever he feels like. But then if he was completely subservient to someone else and had to, like, obey their will,
Yeah.
he would hate that.
Yeah.
So I would like that for him. I would like him to experience that. For a period of time.
Yeah, no, because he's always using people against their will.
Yeah, but also, I also just want him to die because whether or not he's of his own free will, he's still super dangerous, you know, to everyone else.
Mm-hmm. But it was badass. Multiple black flashes. Mahito pulled off a black flash, right?
Yeah, he did.
Against YUJI. Fucking insane. I was not
shouldn't be allowed to
expecting
do
that.
that.
I didn't know that they could. I thought that was a jujutsu cursed energy manipulation thing that like was result of jujutsu as a jujutsu sorcerer type shit. Not just anybody could do that. Because I thought that it was as a result of training, as a result of understanding how to use it as like a martial arts type shit, not as a evil monster type thing. But we also got Nita-san, who looks a lot like Nanami. Just with the eye color, no, the eye and hair color.
I thought he looked like a weird combination of
face
Nobara
shape.
and Nanami.
That too, but it is weird. I wonder if that's intentional. But he's a first year at Kyoto, and he is his ability is like to stave off people's damage. It's not quite reverse curse technique. It's like stasis, where it stops all damage. So as long as Nobara was 1% alive, then
Yeah. I mean, he said she wasn't breathing and had no pulse and didn't, like, you know,
but
try
that doesn't mean brain death. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is it like just because your body isn't like, you know, people get decapitated, their body is basically dead, but their head is alive for a few seconds. So if they
Yeah.
arrived in that weird little window where like her blood was not pumping and her brain was dying, she might have some brain damage and she's gonna be missing an eye if she lives, but I don't think she will.
I feel like they're just
Here's the thing.
it's just a prank.
If they, well, what I think it probably is. But what gives me hope is that the characters who were withholding information from Yuji still went and casted the spell on her and left with her, right? Or was he lying to him?
Well, he did say, I think...
He said while Yuji was, like, kind of unconscious, like, she's probably dead.
Yeah. Well, he even said to Yuji, hey,
I finished treating that girl over there.
Yeah, but then he said to her, she wasn't breathing.
She's probably dead, though. We're on the same page. We both understand. But he still did the thing, and Shoko is still nearby. So like, it's not zero, and it's interesting. It would be interesting if she was brought back. I don't think she will be though, but
that would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
What if she was brought back, but just had bad brain damage from like no oxygen, and she was also blind in one eye, so she just kind of like sat there, and it was just super depressing constantly.
Do we know what this is? Is this the storeroom? What is this?
I don't know. Is it like the catacombs essentially? Like,
is it just the lockers in Shibuya, like where you put your stuff if you're going somewhere? It doesn't look. It looks like
fancy.
It looks like a jujutsu thing, but
like maybe if you die as a jujutsu sorcerer, you go in there, because they're talking about all the dead
the depths of the fallen. Yeah,
like you know,
it's just
like
Yuji's shadow here. Yeah. It's just Yuji's shadow here was weirdly ominous to that. It looks like somebody like Yuji was going here for a reason to like retrieve. So, like that's kind of the vibe I get from just this framing in this shot. It's like there's a reason he's there, not he's metaphorically there thinking about it. Like if it was just the shot of the wall, but the fact that we're through the legs, facing it with the shadow cast,
like,
all the red light, ominous. I'm like, it matches what they're saying, but it looks like there's another intention with this. I think
it's just like that he's looking too much into. It's like you say, oh, he's looking to find something. Well, that's what the whole line is about. Like, he's like attempting to find meaning.
Yeah.
In something that doesn't really have any, because it's just kind of what happens.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
I love Todo just ripping off his shirt, and I love how he's so into the whole brother thing that he's telling other people, he's like, my brother should be around here somewhere. He's like, didn't know. I could have sworn that he didn't have, he explicitly did not have a brother. Okay, cool though. Oh, it looks nothing like him.
And I love how he says my brother, not fucking whatever Kyodai. Like he's saying it in English. So like if the kid didn't know English, that's what brother was, then he'd be like, what the fuck did he just say? But he knows, I guess, what he was saying.
He's just used to Todo and his...
But not used to him enough that you would know what he was talking about, because he didn't even know he had a brother.
No.
This whole fight sequence was really cool.
It was probably because he heard about the account of their previous fight, because he's like he probably knew about that.
It didn't sound like he did.
Oh, I assumed he probably heard about Todo and some guy fighting off Hanami a while ago.
Mahito knew.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying here.
I guess I just assumed that this guy would probably have a baseline of knowledge if he got sent into here.
I would assume, yeah, but the fact that he didn't put it together means that he must be really green. Like, we didn't see him at the Kyoto event, and the first years were at the Kyoto event, so he joined since then. Maybe he's an exchange student from somewhere else.
He's got a crazy outfit,
Yeah.
He's from England.
Well, he has a very Japanese name, somewhat. So, like, I assume that he is Japanese, but yeah, he gives off, like, more of a European vibe with his whole outfit.
His outfit, yeah.
But, again, it's also that he looks like Nanami and Nobara mixed, right? And I bet that is intentional, just as a bit of a fuck you, which is funny. But the whole goodbye with Mechamaru was sad. I was waiting for that, because I thought that they were just going to drop that and, like, oh, he disappeared because he died, and that's it. Like, like, oh, he said he was going to die, and we haven't heard from him since, so he just must be dead. And it was just going to be like that. But, giving this closure is good, because now we know 100%.
I was so sad when they're all Like they just hear her sobbing through the train. That was really sad. And I also liked earlier in this episode after Nobara died, when Yuji is like crying about it and really upset and is like quiet. I feel like this episode captured the hollowness and the emptiness in the way that like I didn't really like when they played the OP during that one, like after Sukuna destroyed everything, and then it was like, to me, kind of ruining the moment a little bit. Like I feel like this episode captured like the same feeling that moment was supposed to, but kind of missed the mark for me. But I felt it a lot more here.
Yeah, you felt the effects of it a lot more. Yeah, I actually agree. But similar to that, I didn't like them playing the ending.
I didn't mind that nearly as much.
I didn't mind the specials playing over that moment nearly as much as I minded this. I think that having the tone of the ending just very much, in my opinion, neutered this big moment at the end. And I don't know why they did it, because if I'm thinking about it from a budgetary standpoint, like budget not just meaning money, meaning time, which clearly they've been having trouble with because of a bunch of reasons, like we've talked about a bunch of times. If that's been an issue, usually what shows do is they use the opening and ending to their advantage, you know? Like if they don't have enough time, or if they don't have enough time to finish certain things, or they're cutting corners here and there to like make things kind of fit, or things are a little bit janky. So it makes me think that it's maybe not like a planning issue or whatever in this case, but I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe there's
it was the same direction as the playing of the OP during that other part. It was like, it was like, you know, guys, we really nailed the ambiance of these other two moments this episode. So what I really think we need to do is just put this song in this moment.
It just doesn't fit. And because like the whole hype up to it was so hype with like this whole magical girl transformation, but the music just did not match at all for me personally. It feels like a very much sort of changed the vibe of the scene from being really epic to being sort of like
somber.
Not even somber. Like it was just such a weird clash that I ended up kind of feeling the feelings kind of canceled each other out. Like the ending song normally feels very somber. But, like, something about, like, using the ending to lead into, like, a big, cliffhangery moment is, like, a normal sort of thing to do. But I feel like it was something about the song mixing with this tone of the moment that they were leaving on just didn't work for me. It feels like this was a much more ominous, scary thing. Like, if they played specials here, it would have fit, like, the tone would have fit a lot more than playing the ending here. But then again, I haven't been a big fan of the ending in general this season, so maybe that's just it. I loved this little shot of the three of them here with the little blow and the kiss, the manga style and everything, the way, like, just the line work and everything. Yuji looks like he kind of does in manga panels a little bit more, and all the characters do. Mm-hmm. It just looks, it looks cool. I don't know, everything. I just really liked this choice. I like when they throw in a little bit of flair like that, and the color was really cool. Mm-hmm. I think it worked really well.
I agree.
What about, is there anything else to talk about? That intro scene was really funny.
I was surprised that they actually showed Nobara's face, because they specifically didn't in the last episode.
Yeah, it's still like obscure because you can't, like, they aren't showing the inside of her skull or anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had a shot from the inside of her skull, which was kind of
That's what I was thinking too. It's like they censored her death so obviously, like they cut away from her face, as like they didn't like usually we've seen multiple characters this time like be transmogrified or like explode. We saw Nanami like straight up explode. Mm-hmm. Then we see her just lose an eye and die that way. And I think the impact of her like falling on the ground was really hardcore for me, but it's just such a weird choice to do that, to like not show it and then show it here. I think it's just a matter of effect. I guess it's not that weird. It's just that they wanted to have a certain impact there, and then they wanted to have the impact of cutting from this nice moment to a more gruesome thing. But having the more violent, bloody, gruesome death when it happened might have just been a choice and not like a censorship thing that they like can't show it or something. I don't know. But yeah.
I feel like I don't really have that much more to say about this episode.
I guess not. Yeah. One thing in this whole Mekamaru Miwa scene, I really liked the sort of art direction of it with all the bokeh in the background and the whole lighting effects and everything. I really appreciated just the whole look of all of this. It's really nice looking. I noticed that while I was watching it.
So it felt a little bit more artsy in the
Yeah,
second half.
yeah, it did. Alrighty. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
Bye-bye.